Not yet.
Now you are.
Not 6 o'clock yet.
Out there. Yeah, no, yeah.
Okay, it's 6 o'clock. Let's call the May 13th Parks and Rec meeting to order. Call a roll. Diana?
Mike,
Here.
Scott,
Present.
Bruce,
Here.
Shelby,
Present.
and then we're missing Charlie and Denny and Leonard.
Leonard. I thought Leonard said he was gonna be here, I thought, yeah. So he may show up here. Okay, you have a copy of the approvals from the April 8th minutes. If you guys see no changes or anything to add, I'll entertain a motion for approval.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No. Okay. We'll go to the old business here, project updates. Sean, you're up to bat.
Oh, can I
Fast.
have a
Yes.
first and a second on the minutes? I need names.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry, yes. Scott,
Okay, thank you.
I was gonna tell you. Oh, now my turn? Oh, sorry.
now what's your,
All right, so, all right, so City Hall pickleball, they were hoping to do the surfacing this week. The rain set them back today. It possibly rained tonight and maybe Thursday, so it's looking like next week for the surfacing. Then we're gonna get the lights in and have that done and ready to open. The bathroom at the soccer fields, the footing is dug. The electrician's gonna be there tomorrow, plumber there Wednesday for the slab Thursday or Friday. So we're moving right along with that. The pools are all completed, ready for inspection, and man, this rain's been setting us back a little bit,
not
so.
bad.
Get those inspected, get them ready to go. We started clearing at Stonehill for the swing set. Same thing with the rain, it's just a muddy, just mess down there, so we had to back out of there for a little while. Over at City Hall Park, in front of Thornhill Pool, the all-inclusive playground has been ordered. We still gotta get the rest of the trees out, but there again, the rain, and we just hit a kind of a dead spot, cause, you know, we don't wanna be filling in big mud holes with, you know, we're gonna put a playground on top of it. Sherwood Park, we have the engineering, we're gonna actually meet with him Wednesday morning to go over that. Hopefully get it out for bid this Sunday, get that moving. Then at the ball field, we're looking at, still waiting on prices to come back for roofing the buildings, upgrading those buildings, redoing the asphalt. We're also gonna meet with the engineer Wednesday there to look at those things. The greens, the roofs are out for bid currently. We will open them on the 24th. So that will go before the council for the next meeting, because we had to run it for 2 weeks because the FEMA money and insurance. So anyway, that's going to be put off for the next council meeting. And I think, you think anything else? You think anything else? We're just, man, we're rocking and rolling.
Perfect.
A lot of it, we're waiting on
Yep.
pricing and getting some engineering work, and I think we're gonna, meet with the engineer on the Lake Cherrywood project. We're gonna try to put him to use a couple different places. We've been having some issues with the asphalt over at the ballpark and getting people up there, to give us a price, and then when they wanna come back and change it, we're having a hard time getting people to follow through with what they say they're gonna do. So I think we may go this route where we have him come engineer it up and bid it out, and I think that may speed up the process rather than waiting on people that don't show up. So pretty hopeful that goes, and then we can still fit with our timeline of doing it in between the seasons. So we'll see how that shakes out. So.
Perfect.
Yeah, and we do what? Oh, yeah, we've got the walking trail at Indian Head. And it's just gotta quit raining. Everything
Yeah.
is just
But
so
it's been
wet.
bid
There's been a
and
lot of
accepted.
rain.
Yeah,
Lot
it
of
has been
rain.
bid
Yeah.
and awarded, so it's just, we'll all be praying for it when it shuts off and it's 100
No, we'll want
outside.
it soon enough.
And then I think that's all I've got.
Well, good deal. All right, updates on the Bill Hornwreck.
All right, BHRC updates are gonna be pretty quick. You know, we mentioned that we're gonna get a new gym floor. We got that, I believe, set up with a timeline
I think it's the end of July.
into July, so we want to get that done before, you know, definitely before basketball. We updated the locker rooms, we painted the lockers. There were some lockers that did not have locks that have been just sitting there for a while, so we've got new hardware on there, as well as doing we redid the carpeting in there in the locker room where people sit after they, you know, change and take showers and whatnot. So a lot of it needed to be done. Yeah, we've had some people, you know, kind of give us some updates on things that we need to improve, and we take that and we try to run with it too. So that's been pretty good. But what I did want to update was, you know, we talked about, and y'all approved that limited senior membership. So I want to give y'all some numbers on that. We're at 143 have already taken advantage of that membership, with 69 being new members to the facility, and 74 of them are renewals. And there will probably be more renewals when their current memberships expire. So 143 already is pretty good. So that's more people to the facility and more people.
What's the age?
I believe it was 50 and up is our senior membership there, so.
And that's something that may need to be discussed, the age of, 50 at some point. It's not retirement age anymore. No, it's really not, yeah.
It's the new 30, right? But no, that's all I wanted to update on that. I think we're in a good spot there. You know, we did the floors last year, so I think play in the pool area, so I think that place is starting to come, kind of get a nice little update it's been needing, so.
Good. Good deal. Thank you. Do business. Naming of City Hall Park.
Interesting thing here is I've been calling it City Hall Park for a year and a half since we started talking about the projects well into our first budgetary season, as far as, since I've taken this position. But I think what we need to do is figure out how to officially call it City Hall Park. I didn't realize it wasn't City Hall Park either, so everything we've talked about City Hall, I thought was City Hall Pond. I know we got Thornhill Pool over there, but as we talk about the walking trail and everything else that's out here, I guess I've been terming it City Hall Park for a year and a half, just thinking that's what it was. However, it is not.
Yeah, we did do some research, and the only time park naming has ever gone before the council is if you named it for somebody. And like Thornhill Park was never like officially named Thornhill Park. It was Thornhill Pool, but even that wasn't an official. Most of our parks are named by location, and that's actually the more efficient way in which to do it. Charlie Harmon made the comment to me that people ask him all the time, where's Henson Park? Because like there's not a road that's associated with it. And so if you Google like, oh, I'm going to go to the concert. Where's the concert? Oh, it's by City Hall, right? And if you Google Sherwood City Hall, boom, the address is going to pop up, and that's going to tell you where it is. So it just seems to make sense. And so that there is no controversy, this will be the first time a location park has ever gone before the council, but that's cool, that's fine. And, but that way we do need to go ahead and put up some signage, because this is one of now the most used, if not the most used park in the city. So that way everything's official and.
Well, with the upgrades we're doing as well, adding the amenities would be just, I guess we need to have a name for the place, so.
Yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of people out there right now. They're here all the time, so, which is great, which is exactly, what we wanted. So, basically from this group, we're asking, for your blessing, that if you all are agreeable, that you feel that this is the proper name. And what it was said to me, like, the Sherwood Sports Complex. And then within the complex, you would have, like the Reynolds, you've got different fields and so forth. Well, the same thing can happen up here, whether it's benches or a little section that's, Walt Barnhart area or the Thornhill Pool. And this is all encompassing of those things. It's not saying that things can't have names on it like at the ball field, but we just need an overall name for destination and ease of marketing.
Okay. So, if we have a motion.
City Hall
for
Park.
this, and then for
motion.
City Hall Park. Okay, we have a, motion and a second. Discussion, everybody okay with that? Okay.
I don't know what else you'd
No
call it.
discussion. Yeah, right,
I
yeah.
mean, the only thing I've ever
Sure
seen
would
is, I've seen City Hall Park, and I've seen the park at City Hall. I mean, that's the
But
only two choices I've ever seen,
Yeah.
something
Yeah.
like that. So.
City Hall Park.
Like I said,
Okay.
I've just called it that. We just,
I just-
once our project
Yeah.
started with
The
the
sign
lighting and everything
shorter.
else,
I
we
really
just,
thought that's what it
maybe
was.
we named it then.
CHP.
Just-
Makes sense.
CHP. All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Seeing none. That is passed. Welcome to City Hall Park. Okay, B,
All right,
Fall
fall
program
program
agreements.
agreements. We got, I had a good conversation with, our volleyball, group that uses our basketball facility. And, he called to, ask about some changes. They're gonna increase their fees from 75 to 85, because their jerseys went up as well as their, officiating costs have gone up. They will be, once again, they're agreeable to the $25 a kid per registrant fee like they did last year, so that'll be in their agreement. So that should be approved and signed probably within the next week or two. And then we have the shack that we already have our signed fall program agreement in. And to speak a little bit on that, when we met with them, we made a promise that we're gonna try to attempt to find a way to come up with a solution to the $25 agreement, as well as getting their program agreement in place to where there are no questions. So we've already got an agreement in place, and in lieu of the $25 per fee, or, per resident fee, they've agreed to pay for products for the fields that we pay for, such as chalk, clay, I'm trying to think what else, conditioner for the fields. So I think that's a good agreement there, because we pay for those things out of our parks budget, and we can utilize that money towards something else. They're gonna cover the cost on that, and I think
And
that,
it's not $25 per
The
kid. I
$25
didn't want you to think that that's how much all that totals to. It
No,
actually
and
came
it-
out
and-
to be
No,
like
no,
a
no.
couple of dollars per
no,
kid.
and one of the things they
So-
did ask for was to make sure that it was, the price that is gonna be agreed upon was gonna be the, to be utilized that season. So I think that's a fair compromise as well, so. Kinda like we discussed the last time that soccer purchased the goals, so it wasn't right to do something like that. So I think it shows a willingness to work together, so
This is-
we're excited about it.
and I've not seen the contract. Is the $25 in the contract at all?
No, it's in lieu of, and it's
Oh,
the per
gotcha.
registrant fee. We didn't,
Okay,
Can I ask
so-
a question on this part? So is that stuff, the chalk and all that, gonna be used just on the fields that the shack is gonna be doing? Because you have a lot of other tournaments, like U-Trip, they have nothing to do with shack. They could go through, if they had a rainy tournament, they could go through a lot of stuff, which would increase the cost.
I mean, that's gonna be easy
You understand-
separation.
you understand what I'm
I know
saying?
exactly what you're saying. That's something we asked ahead of time for this time, and what we did, we just got done purchasing some. So,
how will you
I
separate
think
that?
it
Lorraine?
came out to be like less than $3 a
it's not,
kid.
well, it's not even done
Yeah,
yet.
yeah.
It's
I
gonna
mean,
be
it's
in the
not-
fall season, so what we already asked them to purchase, we ended up purchasing, so we'll separate out in the shop. I mean, it is,
So you'll have a space, shack,
yep.
Yeah, you
That's-
get what I'm after.
Oh, I
This
know,
is
I
Yeah.
understand
Yeah.
exactly what you're saying, yeah, but no,
What they're
that's
doing,
the,
not what
That was my one question I had. How are we going?
well, we'll separate in the shop. We'll separate down in the mule barn on the other side for the conditioner and things of that nature. I mean, we're not gonna have them pay for all our stuff.
No.
We wouldn't.
And it doesn't cover remotely the cost the city side of it, and we're not trying to get it to. But
Yeah.
they wanted it to, they wanted to do things that were specifically for the baseball. So this is the easiest way for,
Well-
to go, okay, this goes directly into the field,
Well, I think some of the other stuff that, we've talked about other ideas, they've had other ideas. I think another thing that's gonna eventually have to come up also is the city pays the electric and the water for the office that they use. So we may end up having to do something where at least cost covers that. So, I mean, there's some other things that can come in play, but I think, working together is a big deal. And I think we've knocked that out ahead of time, because we had already heard rumblings that the city was canceling fall ball. So our intention was to get out in front of it to where there is an agreement in place, kind of just like we promised them, so.
Well,
well in
you know,
advance.
the club is always put money back into the program, always. Again, and like before, when we put up, we helped with the blue building, we helped with all these other things. If money is going towards this, there's gonna be less money, like,
Well, I think it's gonna be easier to track as well, since that,
Track
because
who,
there
track?
is no, there's a lot of history of what has been purchased, and not necessarily a lot of track record on the city side, at least records. So I think going forward, we keep, we make sure, I mean, we know, hey, if they say they put in on this, we're good with it. If they build a place for the grill to, grill
Yeah,
shade
I
structure,
think we were
whatever.
trying to avoid things like that,
Well,
and just
we
have
need
it
to-
as directly to the field, type of stuff as we can,
Well, I
with
mean, and
it.
that's, the big heartburn that I had was saying that it was, not gonna go to the city's, general fund. Well, that's where our budget comes from in the first place. So we've got an extremely large budget for the facility, so, we're trying to find a way to make sure that we can work on the same page, because we're gonna do
Right,
these
that needle.
things
What
regardless.
what does it currently cost for a player?
At 130.
in 19,
Which is actually more expensive than a lot of the city programs.
in 90, I think it was 98, it was Jim Fink that ran numbers on it. It was $125 per kid to run it through the program. That was
It's probably.
a long time ago. So
Well, I
now
mean,
you're
those
looking at
officials are
a
going-
whole lot
Yeah,
more.
the officials are going up. It's hard to find them.
that's
It's
your
hard to
cost.
pay them and things like that. So yeah, absolutely.
But you
But
also.
that's why you fundraise and do other things, too,
That's-
like they're
that's
doing.
right.
Exactly right, so.
I mean, the club is, it's there for a service, and they need to try to keep their costs as low as they can to keep, for every kid to be able to afford it. And when you start throwing some of these things out there, like paying, hey, you gotta pay for your water now, you gotta pay for your electricity, when,
I mean, the other side of it
that's-
is, well, you,
that's, we don't have to discuss that right now. We'll go down a rabbit hole, and that just, probably right now is not a good time for that, but I see some, do either of y'all wanna talk about anything that's going on, or no?
no, he's.
No, behind you, sorry.
Yeah, I will.
These are two board members at the club. State your name.
My name is Jeremy Harper, and I've been to maybe one or two of these. I'm a resident here in Sherwood. Live at 10702 Chestnut Drive, right at the bottom of Bear Paw Hill. Currently, I serve as the president of the board of directors for the Sylvan Hills Athletic Club, formerly known as Sylvan Hills Sherwood Optimist Club. They changed the name shortly before I became a member of the board about 5-6 years ago. Our organization's been providing the youth of Sherwood, Sylvan Hills, and the surrounding area with the administration of youth baseball and softball for well over 60 years. For the last 30-plus years, we've been at what is known as the Sylvan Hills, or excuse me, the Sherwood Sports Complex. Our mission's to provide the youth of Sherwood and the surrounding area with a fun, safe, inclusive, and competitive baseball, softball league for boys and girls. This is so that boys and girls can learn the skills to be successful on and off the field, build healthy relationships with their peers and coaches through positive role models, mentors to teach life lessons and develop into lifelong lovers of the games of baseball and softball, as well as become productive and mentally tough citizens for the rest of their lives. I'm not here to discuss the past. I'm not even here to, what I am here to do is to discuss the future with you and make our vision to become the largest community-centered youth sports program offering baseball and softball. As of right now, I believe we are the largest youth baseball, softball program in Central Arkansas. We have touching 500 young athletes. In the past, the Board of Directors and the Director of Parks and Recreation, we've agreed to a program agreement that had extended from February 1 of the year to October 15th to the 31st. That has been for 20-plus years. This past February, we signed an agreement that was for February to July 31st, and then we had to renegotiate our most recent agreement. And that's to go from August 1st to November 1st. And my understanding of this is so that the city can have more control over the comings and goings in the park. We understand. However, for an organization like ours that has set itself on providing a league for those that want to play, how is that showing confidence in our youth program, where we have to negotiate for 3 months every 6 months or for 4 months? How does that show partners who want to partner with us? And I will tell you that this has become brand new this year for the board. In the last 6 years, we haven't had people wanting to come partner with us. Now they are. But they want to be able to provide funding, capital funding, to help us with helping the city improve the park. When you have a company coming to you saying they want to partner with you, and you can tell them, well, we'll only be here, our contract says 3 months, they're not going to do it. They're not going to spend the $1,500 to $1,600, which is what a backstop is going to cost, with the padding on it to help with the fraying up of the fencing in the backstop areas. Corporations aren't willing to do that if you don't have a longer agreement. I know that this board doesn't make the final decision on the agreements or the contracts, but you do have influence. I'm going to ask you to use that influence in possibly providing us with, at the minimum, a 1-year contract, or not even a 1-year contract, 7 to 8 month contract. February 1st to October 31st. That way we don't have to run into the city's canceling fall ball because we don't have a contract with them yet. We avoid that. We avoid the uncertainty and there's no contract. What I'd like to do is partner with you for a 3 to 5 year agreement. That way we can get the bigger named corporations to come in and help us improve our parks. This would once again make Sylvan Hills the destination for baseball and softball. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. So, Blake, explain again so everybody will know why we went from February the 1st, October 31st, that it's been that way for as long as I've been there.
Well, there's a couple reasons.
Since
I think
93.
when you divide the seasons up, you have season 1, season 2. All right. we try to come up here and discuss program agreements and how we want to do things and to get consistency. It was, I'd like to have very similar program agreements with, you know, at least offerings for the programs that utilize our facilities. Soccer runs a program that if you pay it's either spring or fall, you get them both, right? There's maintenance in between the seasons. However, their fee structure is to pay one time for both. So their agreement is different. The Shack has a spring season, a fall season, and then we're going to do work on the fields in between it. And as we discussed, the seasons are separated out. If they're wanting to use something or that it's in their agreement for them to use something, it doesn't make sense for us to ask them off of the fields when there's not a season going on. You know, they can go out there and do their things. But there's two separate seasons. And I know he spoke to wanting to have confidence in us and them. But I think another reason maybe for the separation of the seasons out is, as I mentioned to the board, there were board members that came in and asked us as a city to take the program over. There was a board member that asked us to take the concessions over. That also doesn't lead a lot of confidence on our end that if the board members are looking, potentially some of them are looking to get out, there's questions on our end as well. But the main reason is for us to do the maintenance in between the seasons. We're going to, you know, we've pumped a lot of money into the facilities. We're going to continue to do so. This year in particular, we're going to be doing the paving or the asphalting of the baseball facility. It makes sense to divide them up. It really does. So that's a lot of the thought behind it.
But you've always had the opportunity to do that in between because nobody's on the fields.
That's correct.
If somebody wants to come up there, they can,
Well,
but
I
that's
think
always,
there's-
hang on a second. It's always been a ballpark president, we're closing down for a month. So nobody on the field, and that's never been an issue. It's always gotten the word out, always had no problem. What they're trying to say is they've got people who want to partner with them, but they're not going to do that. I mean, what better way to improve the program on somebody else's dime rather than the cities or the parks if somebody's willing to say, hey, you know what, we'll give you $8,000 to put backstops or whatever. I think you mentioned backstops through the park.
But that would have to go through the city, Mike, because it would have to go through
Sure.
right, it would have to, who they would then, if they're making improvements, it's not partnering with the Shack, it's partnering with the city.
Would the city turn
because
that
the city
down?
owns it. Of course not.
Of course not.
We would work with it, but
Sure.
that's not negating what is happening with, that would be a contract between the city and the private entity that wants to improve the land or the facility owned by the city, not between Shack and the corporation.
I don't disagree, but I don't think anybody disagrees with that, but I don't think there's still, you have an entity that's running that, the contact is not with the city. Contact is with the people who are contacted, who are right with the kids and their parents. Those are the ones that the contact. Now, I can't, nobody would ever go, okay, write us $8,000 ticket check, we'll buy it, and that's not
Well,
what
I
they're
think
saying.
there's been liberties that have been taken since my time with the club, in either an assistant director or director's position that leave a lot to be desired. Their tournament team structure, which you know that there's several people that didn't like it in the first place. Well, essentially what they were doing was they were accepting a fee
Oh, yeah.
to practice for teams to
Sure,
practice.
yeah. That was an
Additionally, there
but that
was-
was an individual
No,
that
there was-
took it
that was-
upon
that was half the board.
himself.
There was several board members.
You know what? You're right.
I
There
am.
was, and they're gone.
That's
because
correct.
Those
But now we
guys
have some
need
more,
to be
they're
gone.
wanting to change it back to that. I've already heard, there's gonna be people talking about changing that stuff back. I've already been told.
Is that right? You are on the board, have you heard that? No?
We're not,
Okay, okay.
With the baseball program, we have started all-stars, started earlier, so that way our all-stars teams will play together through the league and then go play, and they're designed to go play at the Babe Ruth State Tournament.
they're all gonna play in the league?
But they're
They're all.
league team.
I know they're in the league now, but next year, are they gonna continue to be in the league?
Yeah, there's no guarantee of
How am I
that.
gonna determine that?
Can't do that.
How can I dictate?
But there is a difference. I mean, when you started talking, and I kind of listened to some of this, it's, one thing with, when you're talking about soccer, they pay one fee for both seasons, because basically soccer is under the Soccer Association, and it's all put together that way, where Babe Ruth, or Little League, they have one season, but it has nothing to do with fall ball. Now, Babe Ruth can have fall ball, and you can get in with Babe Ruth, but it's a different animal. The state association does soccer, so it is different. To me, when I listen to all this, is you can go down this deep rabbit hole, and believe me, I got more talk. I could talk to you for hours on it. The real deal here is, what can we do to have a good program where any kid can come and play here for as low a price as we can have, and not be shuffled into second-class citizenship behind these special tournament teams or special interest teams that come in here and take over the park, and you don't see kids. I mean, I live right down the street from the ballpark. I don't hear noise on, I mean, there's so much, the number's 500. We used to be 800 to 1,000. Now, you didn't want to talk about the past, but we had a lot more kids at one point in time. Now, part of that is because of tournament ball. And part of that tournament ball has been so successful because we've kind of taken the point up here where we're running tournaments, because we can make some money off those tournaments. They pay, and what they did though by doing that is you decimated the regular league teams, which is what I think we ought to be promoting. And the way they do that is they come in, you pay gate. What's the gate for now for a regular tournament team ball? $10 a head when you come in? I mean, it
Well, it depends.
It's expensive.
It's
It's
up
an
to 15.
expensive thing. And the parents pay a lot of money to be on the teams. The teams have no loyalties. They just do their own thing. It's all about making money. Of course, when you make money, then you can go back and say, hey, umpires, you qualified umpires, come and do ours. We're going to pay you more than this regular little old league can pay here. Well, guess what? Those umpires, all the good umpires go. Well, guess what happens when you got umpires that are less than desirable? Okay, then you get complaints to the city. They're terrible. You got the people so they don't want to be in the league. I don't want to be in the league because the umpires are terrible. It's a really tough thing to make this thing work like it should. And when you ask, you look at it, it's like, okay, do you want it to be run by volunteers, or do you want the city to run it? Well, I can tell you, the money cost to the city, they don't want to spend that much money. It's going to be a lot. It's going to be a lot more than you realize. But the volunteers are just volunteers. They're not permanent, full-time employees that are here. They're doing this on the side and trying to coach their own kids and do their own things too. So when you weigh it all up, it's difficult to look at this in one short meeting and say, well, this is how this ought to go. I think that everybody here wants the things that I was talking about, have a program where any kid can play and the price can be respectable. I think that's okay. But the other part, the tournament part, you're going to find a lot of people that they believe in tournament because they think that's how they're going to get their kids to the pros. So I don't know all the answers, but I do know that when volunteers are doing it, the cost to the city should be less. Okay, so the question is, what should the city do to help the volunteer organization be successful if their goals are the goals of having a program for all the kids as cheaply as we can and have a quality program? I don't know. I don't know the total answer, but I know that if you start picking at it enough, your volunteer base disappears.
Well, here's another side to that coin. I think the question could be asked, other than this $25 fee or a fee for some kind of agreement, what hasn't the city done to help? our staff up there works
I don't
tirelessly. I
Yeah.
mean, I've gone to their meetings and I've helped try to push different ways to do different things, tournaments within cities. If you want to combat that, let's host them here, let's host them at Lone Oak, let's get the cow ripping teams, let's start rotating that in, which some of them, they're starting to play in tournaments. I think there's other ways to
Yeah.
do things, but I think
And
we've
listen-
made ourselves available
Yeah, listen,
for
I
everything.
don't want to say
Yes.
anything against the city. I have always been able to come to the city and ask for, when I was doing it, I could come and say, hey, let's talk about this and let's figure it out. But there are things where it seems like it got to a point where that's the club and we're the city. And so the backing on things like I was talking about last time, the fence is bent because people did soft toss, okay? But if you can't back it up as a club, you can't stop them from doing that. If you got the backing behind the parks director, and the parks director says, if the club tells you you can't hit the balls into the fences, then they mean it, and you will be gone. You will be asked to leave the park. You understand what I'm saying?
Oh,
I'm
I know
not
exactly what
saying,
you're saying.
okay, you
No,
mow
I
the
think,
yard,
I
you
think,
do
and I think
things.
over the course of the last year and a half, anytime the phone rang, whether it be a individual who's, we've backed their plays. We want the club, just like I want Tommy to make the decisions based on what our expectations are for parents, coaches, officials, everybody involved. I think when we set a standard that's high, that we don't put up with these things and we're gonna work together on these things, I think that goes a long, long way. And I think what this $25 fee has cycled into is us trying to find a way to have an agreement, work together and do stuff. But now all of a sudden somebody put a dollar sign on something where you talk about the club built buildings, they did all these things. Well, I mean, why can't those things be done now? However, the thing is, they're not getting done, right? So we need to figure out a way to.
But this comes back to, and I don't want to,
And
it's
Bert-
kind of like I'm coming in to say, you guys are doing bad. You're not. I'm just saying that things have happened in the past. The reason you don't have the volunteer group that you had is because of things that happened in the past here with the city. There were things that happened that were done by the city, and I know what they are and I can say what they are, but I don't want to go down a rabbit hole. I don't care about the past as much as I'm saying your expectations for a
The city
volunteer
doesn't
group
run the
without-
programs.
The city,
I will tell you, one of the first requests for a meeting I had as mayor was several people involved in baseball to come and complain about the way that things are happening with this organization and how they feel that it was detrimental and so forth. I think that in the past, there's probably been stuff the city did. In the past, there's probably been stuff that the Shack did that have put us all to where we are today. But I think what we're trying to do is move forward in a more positive, because you're right, we need to have good rec ball and in Sherwood. I mean, we need good rec, whether it's basketball or swimming or whatever it is. We need to have that, and we need to protect that. There's no question in terms of that. When that's not being, utilized, the city needed to kind of take more control in terms of, being able to utilize it for other things in terms of tournaments, not to run off, but to be like, oh, why have it sit there and just vacant, or have another organization come in and take over our ballpark and just be making money and having tournaments coming in and collecting fees and so forth. And that wasn't fair either, So, I mean, we're just trying to find a balance.
Yeah.
We are trying to strike that happy medium, and, there was they didn't have to pay anything at all in the fall. We took the notes that they gave us and said, hey, in the past, this is what was done in terms of, things going towards the field. Okay, so then we came back and said, for the fall, here's a list of items. Would this be acceptable? It looks like we've got an agreement and so forth. I know that I've talked to one of the board members, with Blake, about we want to get these things done as early as possible. We tried last year.
Season
like
just
August.
start, yeah, I mean, that's the thing, we want these agreements in
And
place.
then we find out 2 weeks before the season's supposed to tryouts that they don't want the agreement. And it was like, oh gosh, because we don't want to stop baseball. We don't want to stop softball. We want this to
We've
continue.
put our best
so-
foot forward to try to get this stuff out there as soon as possible to
But
where we
that's
can
why
work
I'm glad
together
there's
and get stuff
already
done.
a fall ball
Well,
agreement, so
that
it's.
was there was some miscommunication there.
And-
I've talked to both sides, and there was just somebody, the ball was dropped on both sides. So, and that, it is what it is, and that's why
Yeah,
that
but-
happened. But, and let me just say this, because I
Till we don't have sides,
am
we're in
very
trouble. We need one
proud
side.
I'm very proud of our Parks and Rec. I mean, I'm telling you, when we had a state tournament there one time, they were moving it somewhere else, and I told the state director after about 3 hours of rain, and the parks got it up and running in no time, and I told him, I said, there's not another park in this state that can do what we just did. Our Parks and Rec are always there, so we're not, I think
Until we
the
are one side, we're in
club just
trouble.
wants to have that, like Bruce said.
So-
And just be the guy right behind us that we can run this program and y'all and say, hey, how can we help? Because the feeling is, hey, you need to give us this. You need to give us this. And I told you before, I said, don't think about money. It's not about the money. If you get caught up on, let's make money,
That's
then
not
you
what-
lose the vision.
Well,
And that's
It's
not
never
what
gonna
we
make
wanna
money.
do. And
We
I
know
get
it's
it.
not gonna make
And
money. And that's
good,
not
and
what
that's
we're
what I'm
trying to
saying.
do.
Let's not get to that point.
No, and we're not, and I feel like we are making steps in the right direction. I think that, like I said, we already have an agreement for fall ball, and it's,
Well, my promise
Beginning of
to
it,
you and
May,
them was I will have
last
an
week.
agreement in place prior to the previous season even ended. So that
so
is,
they will always know.
And something else you said, and I appreciate, is that if there are things that needed to be changed, that you would change those. You would,
Yes.
discuss and change it. So I appreciate that. So, I don't, going forward, we need to move on, but,
I look at it, though, I tend to look at things from being a volunteer for that long, okay? As much as we did spend money on the blue building and those different things, we spent a heck of a lot of time making that money, running tournaments, taking people and having people chew us out. I also remember a season where we were $10,000 in the hole and had to put up a credit card so we could survive. So when you start saying, well, let's do $25 or we'll do this, I'm going, look, guys, it's not about the money. It's not about the city spends way more money than that, okay? But volunteers are different than the city,
Well,
okay? We don't have
We're not doing the
them.
$25, so, I mean, that's
Yeah,
already done, and it came out to be,
we don't know yet because it's gonna be in the fall.
but
They
based
didn't,
upon
they didn't do
last
this.
year
We
was a
paid,
couple of
we
dollars.
didn't, we did not pay, we paid for the
Oh, I see what you're
products we just purchased.
But, when we talk about this and I listen to this discussion about capital funding, I start thinking, capital funding, who is gonna do capital funding for this volunteer baseball park, and what are they gonna want? Because I've never seen anybody give any money that didn't
No,
want something
they're gonna
in
want the
return.
city.
They're gonna want something. So, I mean, there's a lot to discuss here and a lot of things that go on, and it still comes back to, how do you get back to, how do we have a program any kid can play for a good price that's a quality program? And those are the things that, if we can get there, I'm all about. I want to. I'm on this committee because in the past, I wanted to be involved, okay? And I still do. I want to be involved, but there's when you go through that, where you pull your own credit card out to pay the bills of the club, you get a little testy sometimes. And when you see, like, you talk about coming in, he was talking, and they do. I'm not cutting the Parks Department, but I know one time I was up there, we had a tournament over here, they had a tournament over there, the city's running that tournament, and it rained. I know where the city employees were, and I know who was over here cleaning up this field, getting it ready to go. I'm not saying that happens now. I'm saying I've seen that happen in the past, and when you're a volunteer, you start thinking differently. You start thinking, okay, who is backing this, and what's going on? So the past is the past. What
That's
do
what
we
I'm trying
do
to
to
say,
get, what do we
yes.
do to get together and go forward? I just kind of want, I say those things because I want you to know where I come from. I'm not trying to be a pain. I want to be part of the solution.
So I think we
But-
gotta move together.
Yeah.
We got to move together. I mean, and that's kind of what, we've attempted to do, as a city, when we say we've done something, there's nothing we haven't followed through with, right? We're going forward. We're doing what we say we're gonna do. We're gonna try to find ways around this. And I think we even stated in here the last time, whenever this was a discussion, this isn't about the money. They had in their agreement that it was tied to their concession sales. This was in the agreements. We want to be able to make sure they wanted to make sure it goes to the park. We're trying to find a way to make sure it goes to the park. It was tied to concession sales.
We've
it's
done
cleaning it
nothing.
up.
There's absolutely, we took not one penny for
Yeah.
spring ball. We're not trying to like take any money. There have been so many rumors that go flying around. You know how
Well,
things are in any.
Yeah.
So
That's
it's
just
like,
talk.
That's
we're
just
doing
talk.
everything we
Well, it's
can,
just, it
right,
is
just
talk,
to,
however, when it comes and it's strictly pointed, city this, city this, city
But
this.
you're gonna get
it wears
that
out.
right
Oh,
forever.
trust me, I
Yeah,
know all
you're gonna
about
get
it. I learned that quick.
Yeah.
It's coming our way.
Thick skin, that's just the way it
So-
is. But let's,
Can we
let's,
move on
let
then?
me say one more thing.
Let me
yeah.
say something real quick.
Yeah.
I got two girls that are playing now. And I know we're fighting this tournament ball thing, but as we've said over and over, it is what it is. It's coming. We can argue about it. We can try to dodge it. That's, woohoo! That's what's going on right now. And having two girls that are playing now, again, guys, take it how you want to take it, but the kids want to play on the better fields. The kids want to go to Cabot. The kids want to go to Conway. They have better fields. Like it or not, they have better fields. They have better facilities. It just is what it is. And that's where the kids want to go. It's not that they don't want to play here. Like we keep talking every meeting, guys. We talk about that we have two entities, as Blake said, and it's hard to get two organizations with 15, 20 people in each one to all agree. That's going to be hard to do. But we keep saying we're going to leave the past in the past, but every meeting we spend 15 minutes talking about the past. Like, I'm from Hazen, Arkansas. I don't have the tie that you guys have from 30 years ago. I'm only 48. So I don't remember what Shaq did 40 years ago. And the kids that are playing now, quite honestly, don't care. Like, we keep talking about what we did 30 years ago. Kids are 13. They do not care about the history of it. I use this as an example. Everybody knows who Deion Sanders is. When his oldest kid was playing, they said, why don't you want to go to Florida State? Florida State's never been good in my life. So I don't know the history of this. So they're just not interested in that. They're looking at where they can play, what's pretty, what has the fancy turf. That's what the kids are looking at. And I'm listening to the talk of the contract. I'm not necessarily opposed against a year, but in that contract, we can say these 3 months are going to be this and these 3 months are going to be that. It can be termed for a year with details in the middle of how it's going to play out. There's nothing that says we can't do that. We can do a one-year contract that says you can only use it from this time to this time. That's fine.
Or you have a month, that month
Right.
where, hey,
Right.
nobody on the field.
There's nothing that says we
Nobody on
can't do
I
that.
think we're hoping to eventually get there. It's just, we're trying to kind of feel our way to figure out the best way. Like I said, we kind of, whatever for fall ball, we're trying to figure out what works for spring and then fall. So a part of this is, we got to figure out what's going to work, what's really going to work for the majority of the people, because not everybody, it's not going to be great for everybody all the time, we know that. You know,
That's the
but,
thing.
but in terms of the majority, and you're right, you get 13, 15 people, however many in a room, and you've got a lot of differing opinions. And I think even amongst the board itself, there are, I know because we're being told different things by different people. You know, whether they're vocal in that moment when they're in that room, I don't know. But
Right.
I think we just need to do what we can to work together, to move forward, and I know that that's what the city is certainly trying to do.
So, good. Anything else? Let me say this one thing, and we'll go on to the next one. Blake, would you consider, y'all talk about a year, so not exactly what he's talking about, and these guys have people that are, I know they're not gonna contract with
Well,
Shaq, but they
I think-
have contacts
No,
that
I
are
think-
interested in doing that. So
I get it. I think it's never off the table. We got to be in a place where there's, I love the word trust, right? We got to trust each other in this
That's
deal, man.
exactly right.
There's been enough come my way that leads me to believe I've got trust issues, right? Whether it be somebody saying we're not going to do something or somebody on their board saying they're not going to do something. So I think we need to, I don't have that with the other organizations. I think once we figure some stuff out, as we continue to move in the right direction, I think we'll be better off.
I don't
But
want us to
there's-
lock into a year and that doesn't work.
It's
You know
been
what I
a
mean?
year
Let's
for
figure out something.
38 years.
Well, no, that's not what I'm saying. Whatever that formula is for everybody.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Next, new tennis pro.
Welcome to the show. Man, I'm excited to introduce y'all to Jordan King.
Hey, Jordan.
He has hit the ground running with us. He started Monday, so he's got a full week, and I could not be more proud of the decision we made already. So you can't let me down. But we've got. He's already started some lessons. He's had a tremendous play day this weekend. I went up there and I haven't seen that many people at the tennis facility unless it was a high school event. So I'm extremely excited about the things he's wanting to do. He's looking to bring people in of all ages, and I'm gonna be quiet and let you introduce yourself and go through the.
Okay, well, it's nice to meet everybody. I'm Jordan King. I'm happy to be here, and I want to, really bring a lot of energy and a lot of business to the tennis center that you have over there by the high school on DJ Hudson. It's a really pretty, clean, quiet facility, and I've been playing tennis since I was like 8 years old in Oklahoma and Texas and Arkansas, and I mean, this is one of the nicest out of the way, but not too out of the way facilities that I've been at, and it's got a lot of room to grow and foster a dedicated community there. And Tanya over there has been a big help, and she has a lot of good ideas, and her and I have been bouncing stuff off of each other. And just real quick, some of the stuff, just so you know what we've been kicking around over there, is to have more events like we did last Saturday. And last Saturday we had a lot of help from Terry Scott, a member of the community. He offered to kind of facilitate that last Saturday and asked if we had anything going. He came to meet me last Wednesday and asked if we had anything going that Saturday, and I said no. And he said, well, he's got a lot of people that would like to meet me, and he would like to rent the courts out. Is that something I'd like to do? And I said, absolutely, because of the community involvement and engagement, and that went great. I have a whole page and a half of names and numbers now that I got from that I'm going to be in contact with to try to get leagues going. And we already have summer camps advertised for youths from like 7 to 10, and then we have a medium age group. Then we have an older age group from 13 to 18, but that's all going out there, along with the dedicated like hour and a half times for adult league play. So we can get a schedule going there, and so people can, count on visiting the place, and we can count on some scheduled, money coming into the place. And I would love to reach out to the community, get some sponsorships to see if we could provide another type of event that we had on Saturday, except like not rely on the community so much, so that way we can keep more of the money and make more money from those types of things, and also get sponsorships from the community, because I want to develop a relationship with some reliable sponsors for fun things like that, but also tournaments, and also USTA leagues. I really want to make it a hub for like healthy, positive tennis, and I feel like it really has the chance to be a place like that for people. I want to get the USTA involved out there, some official sanctioned leagues, like I mentioned, official USTA tournaments, and even some type of, I mean, we need to talk more about pricing and everything, but even offer a membership type of program. That's something that 3 people have already said that they're interested in us offering over there. But I'm happy to be here for sure. And I mean, even in the winter months, whenever it dies down over there, Tanya and I are talking about trying to offer maybe some, like a yoga class, something holistic, you know, to get people still coming in. And it's so quiet over there that, I mean, I feel like the audience is there. It's just a matter of reaching them, showing them what we have to offer, and then once we have some stuff available, then I feel like we'll get pretty consistent traffic and, like I said, a little clubhouse type environment there. So that's the broad picture there that we've been talking about. So we have big plans over there. We really want to get the place going. So happy to be here.
He's sent out a couple emails already of things he's wanting to do, and the memberships was one of the top of the list, and it's come up, and it's he's already done some research on what places are charging and things of that nature, and I think that's a wonderful idea if we can get them to where that's repeat business and coming over there. And I will say this, I kind of put the pressure on him. He was playing in the play day as well, so I walked over to him. I said, "Hey man, you're our pro now. Don't take it easy on him." He came off the court. First thing I said, "Hey man, how'd it go?" He goes, "We got him."
Yeah. So send a message.
So yeah, we got to let them know, hey, this is the pro. They got for lessons. Come here. So no,
It was
I'm excited.
impressive.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was cool to
every
see.
court was filled. There were people waiting to play. They were cooking, barbecuing in the parking lot. It was, and our parking was more than adequate. We weren't sure if it was gonna, how that was all gonna work out. So it was great. I was so impressed.
Cool. Thank you.
Good.
I'm glad
Good
you're on
deal.
board.
Welcome aboard.
Thank you. Appreciate it, guys.
What was his last name?
King.
Ken.
All right, Durand Youth Center. Sean, you back up again.
Turn my mic on just for that. So we are looking at possibly doing a few things to put it in perspective, kind of like we did at Cherrywood, try to get some grants. Do what?
It's the outdoor grant.
The outdoor
Arkansas
grant.
outdoor grant.
Arkansas outdoor grants. Thank you. Putting basketball over there, full-size basketball court.
Well, start off, you've got, tell them what you got, you're starting with.
Okay, what we've got
Because
over
not
there now.
everybody knows what's over there.
What we've got over there now, let's backtrack a little bit, is it's pretty much a half basketball court, I'd call it like a small tennis court. It's not full-size, and then a full-size tennis court. It lacks sidewalks getting from A to B and everywhere else in between. So the thought is possibly putting in 2 batting cages.
In the half basketball court.
On the half
area.
basketball court. And what, is it pitch soccer?
5-on-5 pitch soccer on the.
On the not so full-size tennis court.
That's real
That it
dilapidated.
is real rough. It would have, anyway. And then,
Can't play tennis or anything.
yeah, you can't. It's pretty much shot.
And
So,
that would be
Been
the
like that
only
for a while.
5-on-5 pitch soccer available in central Arkansas that's not private.
and then put basketball on the full-size tennis court. Since we have the new tennis facility, we've got tennis courts at Henson, we've got pickleball at Henson.
A lot of people play basketball up there.
Yeah.
A
I'm
lot
glad
of
we're
people.
keeping that,
Yeah,
yes.
making it nicer.
Bigger and better too.
And of
Oh,
course, in all
yeah, I do
that,
too.
connect all the, make it all the sidewalks ADA where you can get to each court, which we
Yeah.
don't have now. You can get from the parking lot to the back without the steps. We looked at tetherball and what was that other one? I'd never heard of it, that's why I need help.
Bocce ball.
Bocce ball.
And we're trying to make it kind of a sports,
That's what I did.
yeah, it's it's like a
Mold.
Italian on, and it's either on gravel or on grass. We already have the bocce ball, so that makes it easy. And then, the playgrounds,
Or retrofitting those to
yes,
pour and play.
pour and
Oh,
play.
yeah, pour and play for the swing and the playground.
Yeah,
Of course, making those accessible.
Make a reflection
With the
swing.
sidewalks and everything. And then update the lighting, get rid of the old metal halide bulbs, put in LED lighting. So kind of a complete makeover over there. And the thought is doing stuff that, like the 5-on-5 pitch soccer, that's not everywhere. So it's kind of a draw. You know, we can offer something that not a lot of other people have. Anyway, that's kind of the
We
thought behind
noticed
that.
when we were over there, I mean, there's an old flagpole that no one even notices. It was dedicated and everything with no flag on it. I'm like, let's get a Sherwood flag on it. And then I get looking, and there's already on light poles, the arms where you put the, you know, like we've been doing around with the banner flags. And we could just get 2 more sets of those, and it would really kind of frame up the sidewalk and everything. So what we've realized with our grant writers is that you look at these grant opportunities, how they're scored, and then that's how you build what you're gonna do. So that's kind of, you know, being able to, we know that like making things ADA compatible, we know that scores really well. If it's not a high income area, that scores really well. Being able to provide different outdoor opportunities. We were like taking notes at what other people's grants got, you know, as well as ours.
That's why I referenced Cherrywood, you know, we're adding the bathroom,
It's
the
the
full
same
ADA,
grant.
the lighting,
We're-
the parking. So that's all high points for this grading system. So we're learning, we're getting there.
But I think it'll be a neat little jewel for that neighborhood that is an older neighborhood, but you've got young families who are moving into it because those are, you know, a reasonable, you know, in terms of house and expense, a good starter home for these young families, so.
and that is a busy place. I don't,
Well, it
that
used to be.
basketball court stays busy.
It
or
does.
used to.
Yes.
Hey, I got one more thing for
Yes.
y'all that I should have done on project updates. All we like on Joey's, the restaurant upgrades, is the fence along the air conditioning units. We went with steel for the mainframe, and it's gonna have wood pickets attached to it. Hopefully that'll be done this week. We've got 3 weeks left on our 90 days. If it's not this week, it'll be for sure done next week, and then that punch list is out.
Good
So
deal.
just want to throw that in there real quick.
Thank you. Have any announcements?
Don't forget about the concert Thursday night at City Hall Park, behind City Hall. It's going to be Cliff and Susan, 80s night, so if you've got any, you know, kind of retro, Tab asked what he would wear, and I said, what you always wear. I don't think he ever left the 80s, but anyway, you can Google it, but anyway.
He does not have a mullet. He doesn't have a mullet.
I don't think it was
And I don't
mullet in
see
the
any.
80s? Oh, yeah, I don't remember a mullet. But I'm talking about like shirts like this, yes, so. But anyway, if you've got an 80s theme, bring 80s. Oh, yeah, that's right, the hair. Jeremy, yeah, I'm not doing that. So anyway, but yeah, please come. It's a lot of fun. We've got lots of food trucks. They were so good last time, and, oh, like, I already know what I'm gonna get.
It was a very good show last night. The food was
It was
We
just wonderful.
missed it.
Bring
We
a
were
chair.
Unfortunately out of town. We had missed that, but, all right, motion to adjourn.